Ninjababes, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Cara, and this is episode number 30. Flirty at 30 is appropriate because I just turned 30 this past week. Feeling good. 30 is great. When I was younger, I definitely looked to 30 like, whew, 30 is old. But that is not how I feel at all. I feel younger than ever. It's very strange. I'm a true believer that ninja just makes you younger. There's so many ninja babes that I've met in like their 40s, and I never would have thought they were a day over like 35. But you ladies are awesome. This is why it's just a great community, and I love being a ninja. So today, I want to talk about something that a lot of people message me about, a lot of us go through or have gone through, injuries. And we've touched about this a lot on the podcast, but there's something specific that I want to talk about. How do you get through the mindset struggle of you're injured, you were out of the game for however many months or weeks or possibly years, and you just feel like, you work so hard to get your physical body back to where you want to be. It can be mentally daunting in itself, just getting through recovery and physical therapy and all those things. But then you're getting back onto the course or back into training, and maybe you feel really hesitant and concerned. Like, what if I'm just going to get hurt again? What if I'm pushing myself too hard too soon? How do you deal with all of those questions and the worries that might come to your mind about, am I just going to get hurt again? I think for some of us, once we get injured, there's a lot of anxiety that can come. A lot of us, we feel like our identity as a person is so much linked to being an athlete. And then when you get injured, it can be devastating. All of that is just taken away. You can't do what you want to do. Maybe you're stuck at home. Maybe you can't see friends. Maybe you physically can't drive. You can feel very isolated. And I've dealt with injuries that have made me feel isolated, whether it was for a few weeks at a time or longer than that. But I think it's so key to be able to recognize, what is the core of your identity? Is the core of your identity that you're an athlete? Does anything come before that? Before you're an athlete, are you a woman who is proud of yourself? If you're a ninja babe listening to this episode, you could be a mom, a daughter, a friend, a student. There's so many other labels that kind of can be an aspect of who you are, maybe before you're an athlete. And I think it's important to think about peeling back all of those layers, and at the very, very center, at the very core of who you are, what do you believe about yourself, and what are you grounded in? So for me, even before Ninja Warrior, I dealt with a season of depression and I had extreme acne. I was very upset at what I felt like my body was doing to me. And I had to come to a place where I asked myself, what do I believe about myself? Am I ugly now because my face is covered with acne and it's probably going to leave terrible scars? And I was like worried about that. And am I just worthless now because I don't even want to look at myself in the mirror? Is that just who I am now? But I would stare at myself in the mirror and feel like I don't even know that girl who's looking back at me. And I felt so disconnected from who I saw looking back at me. I didn't even think that was myself. I didn't know how to relate to that person anymore. I didn't look like myself. I didn't feel like myself. My mood was so up and down. I was so sad every day, and I would just cry for seemingly no reason. And so when I would look at myself in the mirror and feel so disconnected from this image staring back at me, I began to wonder, like, is this all there is? Like, am I just going to feel this way forever? Am I ever going to heal? Am I ever going to be in a healthy place where I'm just excited about life again, that my skin doesn't look like this, and that I can feel proud of myself? And I realized, like, okay, is that all I have? Like, if struggling with this acne and now this depression, is that what's defining me? If those things weren't there, would I automatically be happy? And is that just the answer? Or is there something deeper that should be, or that is my foundation, that regardless of the acne, regardless of struggling with feeling so sad and so up and down every day, I still have some sort of foundation that is real and that is lasting? And so I began to question, what's really going on? Like, what is at the true foundation, the true heart of who I am? And so I would have like these talks with myself in the mirror, most of the time in tears, being like, Cara, I know you're there. Like, kind of weird, right? I know maybe it's bizarre. Maybe you've done this too, but it's like, I literally would stare in the mirror and talk to myself directly, like, hi, Cara, like, talk to myself in order to try to find this identity and this deep foundation of who I was. And so I would pray for direction and pray for healing and all of those things, but I also was just speaking directly to myself and saying, like, Cara, you're going to get through this. Cara, your skin is beautiful. Your skin is going to heal. And who you are is beautiful. Cara, you are beautiful at the heart of who you are. Your personality, the things that make you you is beautiful. You are a strong person, Cara, and you're going to continue to heal, and you're going to continue to become a stronger person on the inside and the outside. You're going to continue to have your amazing personality shine through. You're going to keep making people laugh. You're going to keep encouraging other people. And I would just tell myself these things in the mirror, even though I didn't really feel any of them. And I felt pretty ugly and pretty worthless in those moments. And a lot of times it would literally be seemingly pretty dramatic, but it was so real, like just crying in the mirror, talking to myself. But that was the state I was in, just feeling so low and feeling so confused of like, why do I feel so horrible about myself? And why is my skin freaking out so bad? I think about those times now as I'm dealing with ninja injuries. Ninjuries are pretty infamous and they all have great stories, but what they leave us with is pretty annoying. Like having to go through all of this process of recovery is character building. That's great, but it's hard. And so for me now, dealing with my shoulder recovery, I found myself looking back to that time in life when I really was struggling with who am I and what am I doing and like what is the point of all this, and is my identity and is who I am dependent on the state of my face, the state of my skin, the state of my being, the state of, you know, what I'm doing or what's going on in my life? Is that what my core identity is based on? And now I've again found myself being like talking to myself in the mirror, talking to myself as I'm taking a walk, whatever, and be like, Cara, you are strong. This shoulder is healing. The shoulder is mending itself together and getting where it needs to be. At the core of who I am, I'm Cara. I am someone who wants to be a friend. I am someone who wants to have a positive impact on the world. I am someone who is so satisfied with being me. I'm so thankful for my body. I'm so thankful that my body is healing. I'm so thankful that there are great, amazing people in my life that I can encourage, that despite what I'm going through, I can see the good in other people and encourage them to go after those things. So it's like, again, I'm finding like these layers of what's really deep down inside. Like if I can't be an athlete right now, or maybe I am still technically an athlete, I'm just in recovery. But if I can't be doing what I would prefer to be doing right now, which is swinging on the chaise and like doing all the crazy ninja climbing things, working on my backflip. If I can't be working on those things right now, what am I working on? What is at the complete core of who I am that is still allowing me to move forward in life and not just give up on everything or not just feel completely dismayed because I can't be doing what I would prefer to be doing? There is this deep-seated hope that comes from knowing your identity. And when I feel like I'm not perfect, I still struggle with plenty of things, but I've come a really long way in being able to look at myself, you know, on the inside and say, I'm Cara. I'm proud of myself just for being who I am. And like, that's a very like abstract thing to try and wrap your mind around. Well, who are you really? And like, what are you being proud of? Like, I'm just ecstatic to be alive and to be here and to be living and to be able to like contribute to the world in some way. It's going to look different based on the state of my current life. Like what I'm doing right now is focusing on videos and on the podcast and everything with Ninjababes that I'm trying to put out and promote and the ways that I want to be able to help other women. That's what I'm focusing on now. I'm not necessarily just focusing on my own craft and ninja. So for those of us who are going through injuries, I would say, you know, take a deep look into who you are. What are you focusing on now? Maybe you're in that physical state of the recovery process where every day you just have to focus on doing your mobility exercises, beginning to gain strength back. Or maybe you're at the later stage in the physical recovery process where you're able to get back to doing ninja or doing your sport, doing the thing that you want to do. Don't rush back into those things. Like, really take time to invest in every single process of recovery. But along the way, no matter what state you're in, you've got to know, like, what is the foundation of who you are? Ask yourself that question. And it translates into so many things. When you get stressed or overwhelmed, when you feel, when you feel like recovery is too hard, ask yourself, like, what is truly fueling all of this to move forward? Do I believe that I will be able to get better? Do I believe that everything I'm investing in myself is worth it? Do I believe that there's going to be setbacks and I will be able to overcome those things? Every stage of the process has its own challenges, but every stage of the process can be so transformative. It can be character building. It can be just part of this amazing journey that's going to change your life and make you better in the outcome. The result of all this hard work and getting through struggles and being able to dive into your own brain and like realize what do you really believe about yourself and realize how to fine tune those things. All of it is going to pay off in the end, and all of it is going to give you such an investment back into yourself once you've made it that far. Don't give up, Ninja Babes. I know injuries can really suck and really be very hard. They can feel unfair. They can feel like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Is it ever going to be over? This is the worst. But if you are faithful to continue to seek out ways to still invest in your world and in your community, to ask for help when you need it even, to cultivate those relationships with the people in your life, and if you are investing in yourself, being faithful with your recovery, and on the mental health aspect of your recovery, really looking into those deeper questions of what am I doing if I can't be involved with ninja or involved with my sport, or maybe I can't even drive, maybe I can't get to work. All of these things, if all those are taken out of the equation, what is the core of what you believe in yourself and what you want to be able to give back to the world? All of those questions are going to help you in your recovery process and help you to just come out stronger in the end. I'm a product of that. I mean, I've had 2 injuries in 2019, and I really just want them all to be done so that 2020 can be a great new year. And I have to look at the bigger picture of, like, I'm not ninjing right now because I just had shoulder surgery about 5 weeks ago, and I'm coming out of that. I'm in the process of recovery. But in these past 5 weeks, and even before that, from the time I got injured in June until surgery in August, I've been asking myself that deep question of, all right, I can't do these physical things I want to do, but I still want to be true to the genuine heart that is mine, that wants to encourage my friends, wants to encourage all the Ninja Babes out there who are part of this community, and really continue to be that true friend, that true person that I know I am on the inside, and to understand that all that comes from this deep place of knowing myself, knowing my deeper identity of being a woman who wants to establish great community in the world. And the way that I feel like I can do that is through Ninja Babes. And so, like, okay, if you try to take that one step deeper, that means my identity is someone who believes in hope, someone who believes in having the opportunity to support and invest in one another. It's like I can keep like going back and work back to try and find like what is the level behind that, what is like the layer deeper than that and deeper than that. And so as I discover those things about myself, I realize how it's meant to then come out of me and invest back into the community, instilling hope in people, helping people get through hard stuff, helping people grow their mental strength, all of these things. So that's my rant about getting through injuries. But Ninja Babe, I would love to talk to you all more about this stuff. This is something that's so close to my heart, and so many people go through all of this, whether it's in ninja or another sport or just in daily life, all the time, all over the world. I've gotten so many messages from people in other countries, in America, different states, like all over, people who have dealt with injuries, and so many of them are shoulder injuries, who are just telling me like everything I've gone through and I'm sharing about. It's so relatable. And so send me your DMs, send me your emails. theninjababes@gmail.com. I would love to hear more about what you're going through, and I would love to hear your questions and just your feedback about this podcast or about anything else that we talk about. And of course, if you'd ever like to schedule a one-on-one, a consult with Cara, that's through theninjababes.com. You can see all the info about scheduling one-on-ones or workshops or speaking events. But those one-on-ones are really close to my heart because they're a way for me to one-on-one meet with you online and really help you dive into the goals that you want to set, the mindset goals that you want to explore about your own self and learn how to rework your brain and really live to the fullest of your potential. So I believe in you, Ninja Babe. I'm really excited to have you be a part of this community, and I can't wait to see how we're going to continue to explore further all of the ways that you are making a difference in your world and how you can open up your own mind and find that deeper ability for mental strength and really just take your life to the next level. Last thing I'm going to say is there is a company that I love that I got to do a short interview with called BeeFree. I love their granola. They make some really cool snacks for active people like us. And so I sat down with the creator and the owner of BeeFree to talk to her about healthy eating and just what their food looks like. And this is a company that Ninjababes will be working closely with to have their food provided for us at workshops and things like that. I just wanted to introduce you to her and the BeeFree world and their community and introduce them to Ninjababes. So hang tight. Here's a short interview I did with Jen a couple weeks ago. Hey, Ninjababes. Today I'm so excited to have Jennifer Wise with me here on the podcast. We're going to be talking all about her company, BeeFree, and the amazing snacks that they make. And I was so excited to bring her onto the show for a short little interview just so that we can share more about great snacks, healthy ways to be eating, and just her advice for ninjas and all of us who are super active and wanting to be high energy all the time, what we should be eating and what would be great additions to our diet. So Jen, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I am thrilled. It is totally my pleasure, Cara.
So I read a little bit about your story on the website. Can you just explain to us why you started BeeFree and what was really your inspiration for getting the company going?
Sure. So I'm the mom of 4 sons. Our oldest is on the autism spectrum. And so when we were looking at, my husband and I were looking at ways and things that we could do for him that would just enhance his quality of life and just, give him every opportunity that he should have. And one of those things that we landed on was gluten-free.
Mm-hmm.
And so that started the whole gluten-free journey for us. And it definitely has been a journey. I mean, we started dabbling in gluten-free after we went to an autism conference in Vancouver. And at that time, that was about 2003, and gluten-free wasn't popular. It wasn't in the mainstream grocery stores. It was in a teeny tiny little section in some of the specialty markets. And it was not as well developed and really understood as it is now. So the choices and selections were very, very few. We saw a need in the marketplace for good, delicious tasting gluten-free foods, and knowing that we wanted to offer our child and our entire family that kind of food really was the fuel for creating BeeFree. And, one of the biggest things too, for me, I was a busy mom. My husband worked out of town, 4 young, active children. And I didn't want to make 2 birthday cakes. I didn't want to make, 2 pizzas and 2 of everything, one gluten-free and one not, because that's kind of what people were doing at that time.
Right.
Because the choices were so few and they were expensive. I just, from the very beginning, really, once we committed to gluten-free, decided that I was going to feed everybody the same food, and it was all going to be delicious and made with real quality ingredients, and everybody could eat the same thing that tasted delicious, that just happened to be gluten and dairy-free.
Right. I think that's something that's amazing because I did dabble in eating paleo for a few years, and I was very hardcore about it. And so my first birthday, when I was under, following a paleo diet. I remember my dad was like, I'll make you a paleo birthday cake. And it meant the world to me. And I was like,
Oh,
wow.
that's so sweet.
Yeah. And so we all together just ate that cake. There weren't like two separate cakes, but I
Right.
remember being so glad that there were great blogs and things out there that had great recipes that other people would enjoy, even if they didn't follow that diet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And in the early days, those kind of resources were not available. In the early days, when I'm saying when we were, just venturing out into the whole gluten-free world in, or the early 2000s, those kind of resources were just not available. And it was a really lonely, discouraging journey. And part of the reason that I decided to make BeeFree a company and offer food to other people was because I remember how lonely it felt in the early days and how difficult it was just to find good, delicious food and resources. And so I felt like I had years of that experience already of developing recipes and kind of navigating those gluten-free waters. And I felt like I had this little gift, and it was kind of a secret. And I felt like part of me just owed it, to share with the world what I had already learned and figured out.
That's great. That's incredible. How do you feel like those sorts of snacks, like the line that you offer, or even just anything that you've created, how do you feel like those are great snacks to implement, whether it's for a busy family, but especially for families where everybody is active and playing sports or like being at the gym? What sort of like high energy snacks do you recommend?
Well, Warrior Mix, obviously.
I mean, you can tell just by the name for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really one of the reasons that we created Warrior Mix was from our CrossFit community that, was after good quality, delicious, simple, convenient snacks that they could toss in their gym bag or they could keep in their car and they could eat it on the way from work to the gym. And so that's why we created it. But lots of other things that I like to suggest are just real whole foods. Whole fruits, beef jerky if that's part of the way you eat, and really just nutrient dense foods that are packed with natural fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. So that might be lean meats, veggies, fruits, nuts, seeds, ancient grains like quinoa and sweet potatoes and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. Did you have any sort of tricks for getting your kids to want to, eat foods that were wholesome and healthy, but like, I don't know. I know everything was homemade, so I feel like that has a great appeal. But for those
Right.
kids who want to just eat like the flashy colored foods, like food dye foods, like candy and things like that, how do you sort of help families implement more of that whole food diet when, kids are bombarded with all of this advertising of like flashy looking foods?
Yeah, exactly. It's so difficult, to be a kid and a parent these days, just with all those different temptations and, like you say, flashy things and colorful and that, and, making things look appealing and exciting. I think the best way is just to lead by example. Most kids they want to be like their parents. They want to please their parents, for the most part. And I think just leading by example and, making it a way of life, right? So if the choices in your pantry and your refrigerator are those good, clean, healthy choices, that's what they'll choose because that's what they have, to choose from. But I think some of the other things that help kind of implement that whole process, not only leading by example, but getting your kids involved in meal prep. Getting them involved in even, creating the menu, giving them some kind of choices and some liberties in the foods that they're eating, all within that whole clean, real food categories, but just letting them be part of the process, teaching them and showing them how to prepare a meal and what a balanced meal looks like. So I think that education element that makes it fun, that just makes it part of the whole eating process, even planting a garden, visiting a farm so that they can really see where their food's coming from, I think helps make that connection and just, gives them a little bit of a reference point. I don't know, might make it a little more educational, a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense though. Like if kids can feel more connection and maybe even more ownership about the foods that they're putting into their body, whether they help you
Sure.
make it or if they've gone to a farm and they really realize like, wow, this grew from the earth. It's not just coming from a box in the supermarket. Like they can,
Exactly.
yeah, they can really like differentiate the difference. I think that's really
Mm-hmm.
important. I know a lot of our kids that listen to the podcast or even families that listen to the podcast, like they're ninja kids. A lot of them are ninjas that compete on American Ninja Warrior Junior. Or there's parents that listen to the podcast too. Their kids are very active with them in the ninja community. And I love that. But I know it's also a big push for those parents who they're raising their kids to be very active and very aware of movements and like having healthy movement throughout your life. Like they also want to make sure their kids are understanding how to fuel their bodies in the correct way.
Yeah, it's so smart.
Yeah. So I definitely love snacks like Warrior Mix that are healthy and give you a good amount of calories and really will fuel you well, but they're also so wholesome. And I love that. And I'm so curious now to be able to try some of your other products besides just Warrior Mix.
Yeah, well, good. Well, we have 5 different flavors of our Warrior Mix and a couple new ones, flavors that we're going to introduce this fall. So we've got ginger and a pumpkin spice flavor that are coming too. So,
Oh, that sounds
um,
amazing.
yeah, I'll be sure to share some with you as soon as we get it.
Where can our audience find Warrior Mix? Is it in a lot of stores nationally or where can they find it?
It is. So we always have our website as a resource, which is BeeFreeGF.com. And but beyond that, we've worked really hard to get our snacks out there to where people shop. So one of our newest additions is Walmart. So we're in Walmart stores across the country, Target, Meijer stores for those people who live in the Midwest, Kroger stores across the country.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the larger chain stores, and then lots of other independent and smaller grocery chains across the country as well. And on our website, there's a store locator, so you can just type in your zip code, and it will show you then where the closest store is to you that you can buy Warrior Mix.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, that's a great feature.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm really excited for the fall is that Ninjababes in partnership with BeeFree is going to be putting together a little fall gift, a giveaway gift, so that as you're competing, as you're getting deep into the National Ninja League competition season, you will have something to motivate you. You'll have great snacks to bring with you on those long weekends of competition. So Jen, I'm so excited that we get to do this giveaway soon. So our
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, so both our audience will have to be looking for that, and I'll definitely be putting it out on Instagram when we're ready to do the giveaway. So keep a heads up for that.
Super. Yeah, we'll make it a really fun giveaway too. So it'll be really super enticing.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for sharing a little bit of your wisdom on the episode today. We're so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful for great people in the fitness and health community who are just willing to share their wisdom with the world and make our food choices a better place for us to choose from. Oh
Well,
man.
it's really fun to be a part of an empowering team. You do such a great job of building people up and spreading your positivity and your joy. So I'm happy to be part of that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tap subscribe and leave us a review. If Ninjababes means something to you, definitely write us a review on Facebook or iTunes or wherever it is that you're listening. I love being able to hear from you and hear your feedback. If you have questions or anything, please feel free to email me. Check out the website for events or to schedule an event. Thanks for listening, Ninjababe, and I'll catch you soon.